Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm going to talk about service workers. Whether they are annoying or helpful, that's something you're going to tell me at the end of the day. My name is Thiago Passos. I'm a solution architect at SSW. This is my Twitter handle and my blog if you want to get in touch. And for today's agenda, we're going to cover what's a service worker, some of its features, the browser support, we're going to do a demo, and then I'm going to summarize at the end. Okay, so what is a service worker? A service worker is basically a script, a JavaScript that's going to run in the background, okay? And that's going to be separate to your page. All right, so some of its features will involve offline, so you can cache some requests, so you can serve from the service worker. It supports push events and push notifications, synchronization, and in the future, we're going to support scheduled tasks and more. Regarding browser support, IE is still in preview. Chrome and Firefox are fully shipped. And Safari, they finally announced they're in development. Cool, so let's do a bit of demo. Okay, I've got a web page here. It's a very simple web page with Bootstrap coming, some images, and a HTML. And that's pretty much it. And now I want to introduce Service Worker to this page. All right, so where do I start from? So let's open the page using Visual Code. And I've got this very simple page here, and I've got this script here. Okay, so in this script, I'm going to register my service worker. Okay, so I'm gonna use some snippets, so I don't need to type everything. So I'm gonna listen to the low event for that page, and I'm gonna register my service worker.js script. Okay, so if that was registered successfully, I'm going to log that in the console. Otherwise, I'm going to log the error. Cool, simple as that. Let me open my dev toolbars here, and I'm going to update my page. All right, so here you can see it was registered successfully, so all good to go. Okay, so if I go to my application tab, you see that I've got a service worker.js here. If I go to the service worker, I have nothing. Cool. All right. So let's start playing with the service worker itself. So the service worker is basically a bunch of event listeners that they can be triggered based on the events that will come in. Okay, the first event that I'm gonna put a listener to is gonna be the install event. All right. Just something to highlight here. Um, as I said before, the service worker is gonna run separate to the page. So you don't have a HTML. So you can't bring a script using the script tag. So that's how you would import a script into your service worker if you need to. Okay, I'm gonna cover this constant here later on, the cache that I'm gonna use in the future. And basically what I'm saying here, I'm adding an event listener to the install event. I'm gonna log that into the console, and that's what I'm saying here is wait until, and then I could put any logic in there, but right now what I'm doing is just skip waiting and then stop my service worker. Okay, let me save that. I'm gonna refresh the page, and once I update my service worker, what I should see in the console is the install event. Cool, simple as that. All right, so the next event I'm gonna cover is the fetch event. So the fetch event is basically gonna intercept any request that you make from your page to anywhere. All right, so whether it's another HTML coming, a JavaScript, a CSS, anything basically that it's coming from your web page. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is I'm logging every single request to the console. Cool, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna go to my application now and I'm going to update my service worker. Okay, so if I refresh my page now, I should be able to see a bunch of fetches. Something to point out here is I'm gonna intercept every single call, but also I'm gonna intercept the first call, which is the home page. Before service worker, you wouldn't be able to do that, right? Um, because you would be able to intercept any call after the first page, okay? Which is quite interesting. You can do a bunch of stuff with that. But anyway, right now I'm just logging, nothing interesting. But as I said, you can intercept the call and you can make change to the request or to the response as you wish. And what I'm going to do here is making change to the response. Okay, so what I'm going to do is if the URL ends with a PNG, I'm going to respond with a different PNG. Okay, so basically I'm saying here that no matter which browser you're trying to use, just use Chrome. Okay, I'm gonna refresh my page. Let's update the service worker. And once I update my page now, you should be able to see all the images coming as Chrome. And just to prove you that the service worker runs completely separate to the browser, to the web page, I'm opening the image in a different tab. And you can see that when I'm requesting the Firefox image, it's coming with the Chrome. Cool. All right, but that's not quite useful. Okay, so unless you want to prank your coworkers. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some advantage of the offline story. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I've got a bunch of assets that I'm gonna bring into my page. So I'm gonna cache every single request that I'm making right now into my page. All right, so in that wait until, I'm gonna open the cache that I showed you before here, the constant. Once the cache is open, I'm gonna add to the cache every single request that I have in my page, and I'm gonna finish installing my service worker. Cool. And in the event listener, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna respond every single request with whatever I have in the cache. Okay, so let's save that. Can update my page. All right, so let me update my service worker. Cool. All right, so what I can do now, since everything's cached, is I can go completely offline here, and the page should still work. But then you're gonna tell me, all right, so you're running that with localhost. Of course that's gonna work. But then, just to prove you that, I'm gonna just stop the server. Okay, so the port 88 is not being listened at all. So let's see if that's still gonna work. And it did. And just to point out here, that's how it did. So every single request that I have in my network tab, so every image, every CSS is coming straight from the service worker, and that's why it's working. Okay, I'm just gonna bring back the server. Cool, and I'm gonna go back online here. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is let's make a change to my HTML. Okay, and I'm gonna introduce a new browser called Opera. Okay, I'm saving that. And I'm gonna refresh my page. Cool, but why this didn't update? Okay, it doesn't make sense. But the thing is, in my service worker, what I said was bring everything from the cache. But that page was already cached, and that's why it's not bringing the latest version, even though I'm online. So what I'm gonna do here, so I can improve this script a little bit, is I'm gonna try initially to get the request. If that works, then I respond from the network. Otherwise, I'm getting from the cache. Okay. All right. So let's update that. I'm going to update my service worker. Cool. So once I update, it should bring Opera, the new browser. Cool. All right. So now I can go offline, and it should still work. Too easy, hey? All right. So what if I make another change to my page and I remove Firefox? All right. So let's remove Firefox now. And what I'm going to try is let's update my page here, and I'm online. Okay. So what if I go offline now? What should it show? Should it show the latest version? No, it's still showing Firefox, even though I was online before. Okay, so now it's not making a lot of sense, but it does actually, because what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get from the network if it can't get from the cache. But it's not caching whenever I have a successful request. Okay, so let's make another improvement here. So I'm gonna go to my fetch here. So if I get a successful request, um, I'm gonna clone that response and I'm gonna cache that response. Okay, so let's update that again. Okay, I'm gonna just force the update of my service worker. Okay, so if I update the page, I've got Opera, I don't have Firefox, and I'm going to go offline. So if I go offline now, it should still work, and I should have the latest version I had when I was online. Cool, so that's it for the offline story. What I'm gonna show you now is the push events. But before I get to the push events, what I want to do here is I want to ask the user to give me permission to send notifications to the device. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna request permission to the notification. Okay, so that's gonna allow me to send push notifications to the device. Okay, I'm gonna update that, saved, and I'm going to go online here, and I'm gonna refresh my page. So when I do that, you should be able to see this pop-up coming here to allow that URL to send me notifications. I'm sure you've seen that many times before. So I'm gonna allow that. And you see here in the console, when I allow that, I got these requesting permission granted. Cool. So now I can send notifications to the client. And what about the push event? So when I go and emulate the push event here using the dev toolbar, I should be able to bring something to the service worker, right? So let's try to push this. Okay, nothing works. And that's basically because the service worker is not handling any of the push events. So let's go back to the service worker and add this listener. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my service worker now. And what I'm gonna do here is add the push. So I'm gonna listen to the push event. I'm gonna do some logging to the console. Okay, and I'm gonna start configuring my notification. So the title and some options, and I'm gonna just send a notification to the client. Whether the client is your Chrome and your um, desktop or laptop, or in your mobile as well. So it's gonna work the same way. Whether you are Android or iOS, when you send a notification, it's gonna handle the notification nicely. Okay, so let's update that. I'm gonna update my service worker. Cool. All right. So when I send the push event now, it's gonna be handled by the service worker. Cool. So I'm not gonna cover any of the subscription stuff. But if you want to do that, you can go to the Google account, so you can handle the notification to Android and Chrome. You can go to Apple to configure the iOS notifications and so on. All right, so that was pretty much everything I had time for today. So in summary, we had a look on what is a service worker, some of its features, the currently supported browsers, and we did a demo. Okay, so now you tell me what's annoying and what's helpful. Thank you very much. Cheers.